Welcome to Webcertain TV. I'm very pleased today to be joined by Eugene Lomize, who is the Director for the Development of Advertising Products at Yandex, to talk to us more about what is going on at the search engine and some of the underutilised opportunities for advertisers. So, hi Eugene, thank you for being here. So, the first thing to ask you really is, there is obviously a lot of different opportunities when it comes to advertising now. It's more than just a pay-per-click ad on a search page. What do you think are some of the most interesting and biggest opportunities for advertisers within Yandex right now?
I think it's diversification of the inventory we use, because historically we were mainly search.
Yeah.
But search is it's very good. It gives high quality conversions and everything, but it's very limited, very determined interaction between user and advertiser.
Yeah.
When user has definitely said himself what he's interested in, and advertising is giving an answer. Just giving an answer is kind of passive role.
Yeah.
And now the situation is changing because the share of non-search inventory is growing on the one hand, and the technologies are giving us opportunities to get high quality communication with users outside of search.
Yeah.
Which actually is shifting the very subject, the very value which advertisers are buying from us. Because initially it was just clicks. We are getting clicks, and it was called "you're paying for the result." And still, the majority of small advertisers are buying clicks and thinking that this is the result. But those with real money, they already understand that they are buying conversions and return of investment and everything. But these are all things if the communication with the user is limited to search and to passive role. But now they can buy the lifetime value of the user. Because in search they have to answer, and in the network they can act proactively, giving personalized offers to their loyal clients, talking to them, returning them back. So it's not just a funnel where user comes from the top and then goes out from the bottom. He's returned to the top once again. That's lifetime value, and I believe that we're developing in this direction. We already have some clients which are doing these things, and the majority of clients will switch to it, the biggest money at least.
And I think you used the word proactive there, and I think that's quite interesting because a lot of advertisers would think, well, I'm being proactive with search ads. And of course you are in some respects, but like you say, it's more reacting to a need and an inquiry, but it's about being able to understand what your customers might want, what they might want in addition to what you've already offered them, and be there with that before maybe they even realize themselves that that's what they want.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is, that's where we are very strong, because to guess what user may like at that moment, in that context, doing this thing and the other, is something which is done exclusively with artificial intelligence, machine learning and everything. That's the only way to make this communication working, because otherwise, well, there are banners. So what? They're not working. We know it from the millennium year, I think.
Yeah.
Just banners without all this smart targeting.
Yeah, so exactly that. The machine learning side of Yandex has always been very strong, and it's something that I know is always being developed and improved. And from a personalization point of view, how important is that, and what do advertisers need to do to kind of take advantage of what Yandex can offer in this area?
Using data which is available through the counter Yandex Metrica, making segments of users, and using the data first party from CRM of the advertiser. This opportunity we are going to launch this month later. That gives, you can develop all kinds of segments. depending upon the thematics of kinds of commodities users are interested in, the price wise, the low price, high price, luxury, you can develop the segments and intersect these segments. Like I want ladies with luxury interests who bought from me several times and didn't return for 3 months. Yeah. You can develop these kind of segments and create special offers to the target audience. We have no limits to the number of users in the segment, which I think is correct thing to do. People have to have, the advertisers have to have this freedom of experimenting.
And different
being
things
very
will work
individual
in different sectors and for different size of company. And
so this is personalization. But again, as I mentioned, the thing is to guess what the person may want to buy, and always returning to him with what he used to buy is not the best practice. Probably you will lose opportunities, definitely, because people are changing.
Not only will you lose, I guess, new opportunities, but you may also they'll get fed up. They'll think, hang on, it's just the same. They'll kind of start to think that you don't offer anything else. They'll think that you're not moving with them, and potentially turn away from your brand entirely. Yeah,
so retargeting and personalization in this sense, it gives perfect results, but there should be correct in metric of diversity of things you offer.
And it's very important to kind of, not just think we're going to use personalization, go down that route, and not constantly evaluate it and change what you're offering. And then talking about retargeting, we think, banner ads and that kind of thing, but Yandex is also going to launch a new retargeting in search option. Is that correct? This
is obviously, again, that's exclusively about personalization.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't mean that we can show ads without user request.
Yeah.
But in addition to user request, you will be able to create special messages for various segments of your audience. And again, you can make them very, very narrow and precise.
And then something else I wanted to ask you about was dynamic search ads, because I know this is another area that you are developing and offering more in, and that's, I think, an area that many advertisers have started playing around with in general. And what are the kind of benefits of using that approach compared to also maybe the kind of potential risks of going down a more automated search route?
You see, actually we always had two competing approaches to advertising inside Yandex, because our mathematicians are dreaming about fully automated solution when just advertiser doesn't have to do anything but to tell us, well, here is my domain, please make the and here is my budget, please make me campaign working as good as possible. And we should guess what is as good as possible for this very advertiser and develop everything automatically, and he will just spend his money. Automation is important because at the moment, working with contextual advertising is it's hard work. You have to spend a lot of time for analytics, for developing your advertising materials. You have to control everything. It's really time consuming, and saving time is important because time is money. On the other hand, the danger of this over-automating approach is that our mathematicians do not know about the specific peculiarities of various businesses. They have models. They don't have sense for real life because they are mathematicians. They have sense for models.
Not the people behind
and that's why it's absolutely impossible that they develop fully automated ideal solution for everybody. There will be always segments of business and segments inside business which will take some handwork. We have to minimize handwork, but we don't need to exclude the very possibility of hand tuning up the campaigns. We have to develop these tools too.
Absolutely. So all the marketers will be pleased to hear that they'll still have jobs because there's still a need for the people behind the ad. So When it comes to, Yandex is known for the fact it's been very innovative. It's always developing new technologies. It's always trying to improve what it's doing. What are the factors that influence where you focus your attentions and how which products you develop in which ways?
It was always feedback from the market.
Yeah.
Seeing what people are doing with their hands and trying to automate it. Analyzing statistics. And experimenting.
Yeah.
In many cases, we launch figures through experimenting. Like we first give it to limited number of clients through our managers.
Yeah.
We look how it works. We make some improvements, and then we launch it to agencies and then to everybody. We tried to switch to a scientific approach, like to make the prognosis what kind of money this or that feature is going to bring.
Yeah.
And so far it's not working. Because whenever commercial people are predicting the commercial effects, they are very careful not to create the big expectations and
yes.
then being blamed for not fulfilling it. So they are very conservative, and if you just count on it, you will end up in doing nothing but improving ergonomics of interface, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we have to afford some space for intuition.
Yeah.
And for mistakes.
Of course, yeah. And like you say, testing, trying out
yes.
before rolling out on a long scale. And then obviously within search, there aren't a huge number of competitors, for Yandex. Really, there's not a lot of search engines out there, but there's one in particular that, of course, is probably the biggest competitor in Russia. But are there any times where you've seen something that another search engine has done perhaps and thought, oh, why have they done that? They've gone down a totally different route to the route you've gone down? Or do you think there's always a very similar pattern to the way that it's developing? Oh,
generally, I think that like all airplanes look the same.
Yeah.
All searches are doing approximately the same thing,
yeah.
which is mainstream. Oh, there is a search which is not personalized. And it will obviously have its audience, but I don't think it can become a mainstream.
Yeah.
So generally, the things which are dangerous for us as for search engine mainly appear, unfortunately, inside our biggest competitor. For a long time, I haven't seen small initiatives which offer features which can become predominant.
Yeah.
Interesting, yes, but to give the dominant position to me, no, not really.
No, we can't see that happening anytime soon. And what do you think is the next big thing in search or in digital advertising? Where we are already, what's the next thing to take us beyond that?
It is obviously the consequences of mobilization, which probably is just in the course because, well, these smartphones is one thing, but it will evolve, and we don't know exactly how. Well, I think that probably there will be one device and various screens.
Yeah.
So you will connect it to all screens, and you will have screening in your automobile, which is very important because I do believe that driverless cars will dominate pretty soon.
Oh dear.
I don't like it. I like driving, but
no, I don't like it either.
I don't like it, but looks like this is going to win.
Although having said that, there are some quite bad drivers as well, so maybe it's not bad.
Users will start using bigger screens in cars, well, whatever. They have many screens with one processor, which will be analogous to the smartphone at the moment. And it will definitely affect all the services, starting from search. Voice input, the mixed search results, including web and in-app, app preview of specific place of the app without loading it, those kinds of things which are already obvious, but we shall see. I think that many more are coming.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a fast-moving area and we never quite know what to expect, but I'm sure we'll see lots of changes.
The main thing is that search doesn't give the link to something, it should give the answer. And sometimes it's link, and sometimes it's info which is already there, and the snippets should be bigger and rich with formats, video, pictures, everything. Sometimes it could be exact transaction right there, but that's not mainstream.
No.
That's exclusive case. In majority of cases, people want to choose. They want much more extra information on more specialized interface than generic search.
So be more interesting with search.
Yeah.
Be more diverse, offer as much as you can to the user in that result page. Great. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. Really appreciate it.